Holosky podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Steven.
And Kyle.
And it's Monday Holocult. So you know what that means. You've chosen us to hang out with you to get you through the work week. And for that, we appreciate it. Forever grateful, forever thankful. If you're new here, me and Kyle like to talk a little bit. If you're not into that, probably just want to fast forward to 6-minute mark, somewhere around there. It's usually when we get into the crux of the show. If you want to listen to us talk, feel free to hang out. And if you're not new here, welcome back, weirdo. We're glad to have you. Kyle's got a banger today. He's been excited about it. He's been hyping it. Been hyping it the last few weeks. I'm stoked.
Good. It's even better because it's not better because we're recording from our homes because I've got a bit of a head cold and I'm not trying to give it to Steve. But it does make it better because now he has no fucking clue what it's about because he can't see the title.
Okay.
And it just hypes the suspense up.
It's killing me.
It's good, man. I'm excited. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're going to get to it right after I get through the business. So check us out at all our social medias: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Discord, Reddit. Search up the Holosky podcast. You'll find us there. Come and hang out with us. Be part of the cult, join the community. It's a fun thing. It's a fun thing we do. If you have a paranormal experience that you'd like to share with us and the Holocult on a future episode of our listener experience show that usually drops on Thursdays whenever we do it, Kyle's got some deets for you.
holoskypodcast@gmail.com. Shoot that shit over there. We're going to get it, file it, air it. And essentially, it's going to be like you winning the lottery. Powerball in particular, which is up there, and we just have that kind of energy.
We do have that kind of energy. If I had to choose, though, 1.7 billion or being featured on the show.
Featured on the show
it is. If you'd like to support this little journey we're taking, there's plenty of ways you can do it. We got a Patreon. You can jump over there and get Patreon exclusive episodes. These episodes early and ad free. You get casket breath jams over there. You get some merch goodies over there, coupons and early drops to all of our merch drops, all kinds of good stuff. Speaking of merch, holoskypodcast.com. Go over there. We got a store link. Click on it. Find some Holo merch. Buy it. Rep it. It's just a whole thing. It's a good time. It's a good, fun time for everybody involved. The best thing you can do is share the show word of mouth. Share it on social media. Whenever you see an episode pop up, share that bitch. Share it. Help grow the audience, grow the cult. Eventually, me and Kyle's going to get to a point to where we're going to do this all the time. We're manifesting it. I'm manifesting it. We're manifesting it. You're manifesting it. It's going to happen. And then you get much more of us in your dailies. It's going to be a good time.
We need to just set up like a weekly meditation time so everybody meditates at the same time.
Yeah, we do. But yeah, just keep sharing it. Just keep putting it out there. Keep doing that. Also, you can go to wherever you listen to podcasts, your podcatcher, if you will, and leave us a 5-star rating and review. And we will gladly shout you out. This week's 5-star rating and review comes to us from our friend Van Meter Vortex. Van Meter says, "Thanks. Hey guys, thanks for the awesome intuitive episode. Referring to the episode where you went to the Appalachian Mountains and the Bigfoot exhibit. I live 2 counties away, Dawsonville. Every Holosky sticker that I put up, someone has stolen. Gonna have to keep an eye out for the green light that you saw. We'll write back if I see anything or get any pictures." Well, Van Meter, that's all. You live in a crazy area down there. The Blue Ridge foothills, that's some weird energy.
It's a hot spot for sure.
Big energy down there. But that's cool that you're repping the cult, throwing the stickers up. Granted, I didn't look for any. Like while I was at the Bigfoot Museum, I'm not saying I know there's one in there. I'm not saying I know who put it there. But if you go in the men's bathroom and you go to the very last stall and you look on the side of the wall, there might be a Holosky sticker there. Just throwing that out there. I don't know who put it there. It's a mystery.
It is a mystery.
I was shocked to see it there when I was taking a piss. It's weird.
It's kind of cool and exciting, though.
It's weird. It definitely didn't come out of my wallet and onto the wall. Just putting that out there. Feds. Wasn't me. But yeah, that is cool. You live in a cool area. If you see the green UFO, try to get a picture of it, because it just, my mind was on a different trek at that point. So yeah, thanks Van Meter for sending us the love and the 5-star rating. We appreciate it. Hope to hear back from you with some weirdness. And to the people stealing his stickers, like, he's out here doing the Lord's work, repping the show. Don't do that. Don't take him down.
Yeah, shame on you.
Don't be part of the negative energy. It's all good vibes here. It's all positive vibes.
Yeah.
Okay? Just stop it. Another way you can support the show is support our lovely sponsors, which you're going to hear from right now. All right. We are back, just like that. And Kyle's about to send it. He's going to send it.
I'm excited, which sucks that I have a head cold, because it's going to try to zap my energy. So I'm going to try to push this shit away. On top of all of that, shout out to the fucking nerds that stole my identity.
What a way to start the show.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Shout out to the nerds that stole Kyle's identity.
Yeah, because I haven't been working hard my whole life or anything.
It took a turn.
You know, yeah, I just wanted to put that out there in the ether. Shame on you. Fucking do better.
We went from good vibes to just violence.
Yeah. I mean, I think I have it squared away. However, fucking do better.
It's a pain when
Get a job.
It's a pain when that happens.
It sucks. It's a complete unnecessary situation for myself.
Yeah. Like, do you know me? Like, you don't want my identity.
No.
You don't want any part of it. It's not good. No.
Here we are.
Pick somebody cooler. It's easy.
Yeah, you'd think you'd pick somebody with substantial funds, not someone without.
Yeah.
But yeah, who am I? I'm not a straight up buster, so yeah, it is what it is. But moving on from that negativity,
we just had to get that out of our system.
Yeah, I had to get that out there.
Feeling better now.
Moving on. I'm really excited about this episode. I talked a little bit about it on the night shift, and it was supposed to be like a mixed bag episode of just weird park ranger stories that I found in a book. I read the first story, and it compelled me so much that I was kind of honestly looking at more of a disproving thing, because the story just sounds nuts. We're going to go over the story first, but it sounds crazy. And so I start looking into it, and then I start finding more and more information on this entity. And it's one of my current kind of favorite topics, because it stumbles back into one of my favorite movies ever, Predator. And so it's just it's a compelling thing. So we'll go over the story, we'll talk about it, and see what Steve thinks.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, this story comes from They Live in the Woods by Park Ranger Ron Blade, which is kind of a sick ass name.
It is a sick name. He's probably a vampire.
I hope so. And it's kind of funny. I didn't even think about that, but apparently Mr. Blade here has been a park ranger and a part of search and rescue for over 30 years. And over those years, he's witnessed things in the woods, which made him begin to collect stories. And this particular story is from Mickey, a 5-year park ranger, and this happened on July 5th, 2021.
Ooh, so it's fairly recent.
Yeah, if the story's 100% legit, then it is extremely recent. I tried finding reports on this, and I couldn't. But that doesn't really mean much if this is true. Because if this is true, it's definitely something that would get buried.
Yeah, and that happens a lot.
Yeah. And you're kind of dealing with the park ranger thing, and I kind of feel like there is some cloak and dagger around that organization.
Yeah, look at the big dog man case from the LBL, where that family essentially got torn apart by a dog man, and trying to find it's in the lore. Like everybody knows that about that case, but you can't find anything.
That's a great point. That's a great point. I didn't even think about that, but that is a great point.
Yeah.
So on this day, bright afternoon, Mickey had just finished patrolling his area. He decided to take a short break. So he parks his truck next to the little picnic area where this family was having lunch. He was sitting in his truck, kind of taking in the day. He said it was just one of those just perfect fucking days. Temperature was right. The sun was just right. Leaves were rustling. Birds are chirping. You know, just a little bit of a summer breeze or a slight breeze to offset the sun's warmth. But just one of them perfect days, right? And he's kind of browsing on his phone when, ironically enough, he notices this glimmer of light kind of catches his eye. And right away in this story, I feel connected here because I have told Steve before, and I know I brought it up on the night shift or one of our episodes, how it was the middle of winter for me, and I was working in this rock quarry on the tree side, and it was lunchtime. Well, it was cold out, and I was in the nice warm truck, and I was like, well, to hell with it. I'm going to take a little nap. So I kicked my chair back, and I just happened to notice something out of the corner of my eye. And it looked like a predator-like being. Its head was as tall as my, like, to the bottom of the window. Like, that's where its chin would be. Like, if I had the window down, I could rest its chin on my door. But I would have put everything to say that I saw a glimmer man, essentially, in that moment. So I feel connected to what Mickey had just witnessed, you know?
Could you before we get into Mickey's story, could you see what shape the body was?
All I saw was the head.
The head. Was it
was
human-like?
Yes.
Weird.
Yep. And it had like if I were to draw it, so I would draw the rough outline of a head and then imagine glimmers of light that kind of just keep coming in. Like you would take that head outline and then shrink it down, put it in a layer, shrink it down, put it in a layer. Like that's how the light, it was refracting.
Weird. Yeah, I was gonna say like fractals of light.
Kind of, weird. Yeah.
Because I was curious. Like you hear in the Bigfoot community sometimes about them possibly having cloaking capabilities and stuff. Because I was wondering how big it was compared to a human, but it sounds like a human size.
Yeah, it may have just been shorter, like I said, because its head was even with the bottom of the window. Yeah.
Interesting.
But it seemed like whenever I saw it, like halfway out of the corner of my eye, and then when I turned a full on look, it had disappeared.
It's creepy that it was was it checking you out?
That's what it felt like. Like it was peering into the window.
Gross.
Weird. It's definitely weird.
Okay. Gross.
But back to Mickey here. So after seeing this glimmer of light from the corner of his eye, he did what most people would do and kind of look over at it to see what it was. You know, and a glimmer of light could be anything. It could be a glint from a bottle, a family cell phone, a fucking honey bun wrapper sitting out in the woods somewhere, you know, anything. But it catches his attention again. So he looks over at it. He's like, it's just like this shimmer, a heat wave style, but it also pulsed and flickered just beyond the family's picnic. He's like, this little boy was sitting there at the picnic, just kind of playing with this little toy truck, when all of a sudden the ranger witnessed the boy vanish. The boy disappears into thin air. He immediately gets out of his truck, reacts to it, starts yelling to the parents. He's panicking. The parents, who are just dumbstruck, they look around and realize the boy's gone. They start to freak out. The parents kind of thought the boy had wandered away. So, I would assume Mickey, the park ranger, kind of let it go that direction because he's like, I just witnessed him disappear, but I can't exactly just say I witnessed him disappear.
Yeah, it's an impossibility is what it is. It's one of those things where you're questioning yourself, you're questioning what you saw.
Exactly. So they start searching for the boy in the woods. They retrace the steps. They investigate the area, looking for any tracks, signs of anything, clues. Can't find anything. Sun starts to go down. Dread sets in the air, and Mickey's just like trying to rationalize the entire situation and convince himself that the boy just wanders off. Which, like Steve was saying, it's in that situation, it's something we would all do. We would all be like, there's no possible way I just witnessed this boy just vanish. Like a fucking magic trick.
Yeah, you immediately start to rationalize. Like,
100%.
Did I blink for a split second and something grab him? Did he run to take a piss in the woods? Like,
right.
You're just gonna immediately start trying to rationalize it.
Yep. So naturally, as this a level of progression would happen, they call in for extra help, including dog teams to help search for the boy. Everyone's out. Excuse me. Everyone's out looking for him. Night finally fully sets in. They halt the search until morning, which I was kind of wondering if that's a common thing in those areas or if that's kind of out of normal. Because I feel like a lot of people would push through the night.
There's a lot of factors. Like
yeah.
When I was big into missing 411, I was reading up on SAR, like protocols and stuff. And it depends on like the weather, the terrain. If the terrain is dangerous, if it's like mountainous and cliff sides and stuff, they'll call off night searches because essentially you run the risk of losing another person.
That makes sense.
Or getting another person hurt trying to navigate all that in the evening. So they will call off night searches, or will call off searches during the night sometimes.
That makes sense.
Also, if there's like local people, because usually when there's a child, everybody bands together.
Yeah.
They also try to call it off because they don't want like inexperienced people out there trudging around at night. Because again, you have a scenario where you might have multiple people missing, and then
that makes sense. That actually makes a lot of sense. I could see that. So at first light, they take up the search again. However, as time passed, Mickey said he just kept being pulled towards the spot it all happened. So he kind of breaks off from the group, goes back to the scene of the crime. He's looking back over the ground for any clue that may help them in this search. He spins around. Oh, he hears rustling from a bush nearby. He spins around kind of halfway, expecting an animal, but also kind of hoping that it's the kid. Instead, he sees the shimmering again, just hovering over the edge of this little bush at the edge of the forest. He said as he sat and watched this thing, it was like he was rooted in place. Even though all of his instincts commanded him to run, they both just kind of stood there and watched each other, acknowledging each other's kind of presence. All of a sudden, the silence and the situation is broken by the father of the child kind of finding Mickey, the ranger, and being like, hey, have you found anything? Like, what's going on? And apparently Mickey starts to explain to the dad about the shimmer. Even though he knows this is not a great idea, but he's like, I don't know what else to do. So he starts explaining it. And as he's kind of going through this, more and more people are kind of showing up in the area. And most people who overheard the conversation kind of hush it back, and which kind of puts a little bit of dread onto Mickey. But he apparently another ranger speaks up, and he's like, I've heard stories like this in the area. You're not the this may be crazy, but I've also heard these stories. As the days go on, Mickey's having kind of nightmares about this entity, and he comes to a conclusion, and hats off to him, but he's like, I've got to go find this thing again. I have to find this shimmering being again. Fear is not going to dictate my actions any longer. So he breaks away from the search party again and starts to go on the hunt for this shimmering entity. So he goes back out into the woods and he's like, I got to do this for the family, for the boy. I need to do this. And as he's hiking through the forest, he comes to this clearing. And as he looks around, he sees the shimmering again. However, it's not one. There's a few of them. And he describes them as humanoid figures, but the features were distorted, kind of translucent and ghostly, rippling like water, and they were all unique in their appearance. And as he's watching, they begin to dance in the middle of the clearing. Mickey's kind of taken back by all of this and begins to step backwards. Well, as he does, he steps on a fucking twig, of course. It snaps, which, mind you, is exactly what would happen to Steve and I in this situation.
Yeah.
But as the twig snaps, all the figures stop and they start looking at Mickey. So he's like, okay, fuck this. I'm out of here. So he takes off.
That's fair.
Figures start to chase him. And he's like, they weren't running. They were kind of like gliding across the ground. And they were gliding at a pretty decent rate of speed. He says that, one of them in particular had its arm stretched out and it began to promise, like he could hear it in his head. It began to promise like knowledge and understanding. And he felt this overwhelming urge to comply and just be like, okay, yeah, I'll stop and hang out. But he's like, deep down, I knew that was wrong. I knew that I can't do this. This is bad. So he picks up speed. He runs as fast as he can. And he's like, even running as fast as I could, and I was gaining ground away from him, I could still hear their whispers in my head. And as soon as he breaks out of the woods, he looks back at the tree line and he expects that these things are still on his trail. However, they're all gone. There's nothing there anymore. And at this point, Mickey seems to be in a very interesting place mentally because he's obviously terrified, but at the same time, he feels a duty to keep trying to figure out what is going on for the family and the boy. And he like once again kind of hypes himself up and is like, I'm going to figure this out. I'll go and confront these things again if I have to, which at that point, I kind of feel like it's pointless because you've already ran from them. You don't have any clue what they are or how to fight them.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that's a good idea.
They know that at this point that they exist. They know that you're afraid of them, which is a big, you're behind the 8 ball now.
Yeah.
So the kind of to switch gears here, the parallels to last week's episode, the Sam the Sandown Clown episode, are so much like with the weird shimmery glimmery atmosphere, like when Sam came out.
Exactly.
And some of the beings that were the others of Sam also had the weird electric shimmer to him.
Yes.
The way that he moves, like they said, Sam moved in a puppet-like manner, which could easily be confused with dancing. Like,
good point.
The other dancing ones. Almost good like point. When they get into our dimension, I fully feel like Sam is a being from a different dimension. So I feel like when they get into our dimension, it takes them a while to, I don't know, like attune to our gravity or attune to our physics or some shit, So like them trying to figure it out takes a second. So that's what like the parallels between that episode and this episode is getting weird.
It's going to get weirder.
Especially the way
there's more that I'm going to bring up, and I guarantee you're going to be like, oh, fuck, that makes a lot of sense. Not only in Sam, but in the broad spectrum.
The way the boy just flashed out of reality is the same way that Faye essentially flashed out of reality when she was with her friends. She was with Sam. Granted, it's a little different because she was still there. Her consciousness was not there.
Right.
Which, I mean, there could be many different forms of abduction, really, you know?
Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah, for
conscious
sure.
abduction, physical abduction.
For sure.
It's weird.
It's definitely strange. So as far as Mickey goes, now apparently when he was out in the clearing, and I don't know if I overlooked this in the book because I'm kind of writing as I'm going, I'm kind of skimming this, that, and the other. But apparently he had a camera with him. I don't know if it's like a GoPro or like a camera. I think it was a camera because he said he did take pictures of these things. But unfortunately on his camera, nothing appeared. They didn't show up at all on the camera. So at that point, he's kind of like, I'm fucked. I don't know what to do. No one's going to believe me at all, ever. They're going to think I'm crazy. You know, and the hero syndrome kind of seems to run its course. And he, like I said, no matter what he does, nobody's going to believe him. And at that point, he kind of just loses hope. He thinks about talking to the sheriff, but he knows that the sheriff is most likely not going to believe him. He's like, I could reach out to paranormal investigators in the area, but he's like, but then this is probably just going to turn into some campy ghost story bullshit. And so he just kind of loses all hope. And as far as the account goes, I'm assuming they never did find the kid, because that's kind of where the story ends. Is I'm assuming he went back out until they called the search.
It does have big missing 411 vibes.
Oh yes, 100%.
The way that they talk about it just being like, take missing 411 for what you will. I don't buy into a lot of David Paulides' stuff. A lot of his accounts have been disproven. He's been known to like embellish stories and make them weirder than they really are. But that doesn't take away from the fact that he brought a lot of eyes onto something weird going on in national parks, right?
Yeah.
If 1% of the stories he put out is unexplained, that shit's still unexplained. You know? But you hear a lot of accounts of it. Like he essentially calls it like a perfect predator that can snatch someone out of the forest and no like it has 100% lethality rate. You know, like they can't.
Yeah.
But you hear accounts where people have come back, and it is almost like they are in a different dimension. I can't remember the case, but I believe I talked about it on here. The older brother and sister were out like mushroom hunting or something, and they got separated. And the brother, like they were probably in their 30s or 40s. The brother left, and when she was left out there, she said she saw people and heard people, and she was afraid of them, so she hid from them. Because at first she would yell at them, try to get their attention, and they just acted like she didn't even exist. Like they did not acknowledge her, they didn't hear her, and that put like this innate fear in her to hide from them. Like they weren't humans, essentially.
Yeah, I do remember that. I remember you talking about that.
Yeah, so there's I don't know, man. What's weird?
Oh, it gets weirder, dude. Like this is just like the tip.
Just the tip,
buddy. And I kind of talked about it on the night shift, how as you read the book, it's a little written in more suspenseful and lengthful form, I believe. But, you know, I don't know. So like I said, after that, I'm thinking, I'm like, all right, this does sound a little bit campy. It does sound a little bit fishy. I'm going to try to look into it and see if I can't find some more evidence on this story. Well, I didn't find anything on that story, but golly, did I stumble on some other shit.
Yes.
So in most cases that we've heard, it does seem that these glimmer man, predator-like beings do tend to stick to the woods and forests, right? That does seem to be a common trope. And I've heard a few accounts where they're around like a city area, but it still seems to have trees and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right. So we're going to check mark that, trees and shit like that, because that's all going to come back around. In the Hunt for the Skinwalker, Colin Keller and George Knapp have an episode where a near invisible creature chases a man before retreating back into the tree line. So there's another tree line.
Yep.
Then I stumble onto something that's pretty interesting and maybe a little bit more sinister way of describing this phenomenon, because these glimmermen and shit, they're not new, and not by a long shot. I'm going to assume that most of the people in the paranormal world also don't know this, because I have probably, in all honesty, heard one other person talk about these things. And I could still be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that he has read these as well. Now we enter, which is going to be the title of the show. So you guys will already know. Steve doesn't. Enter the Shining Ones.
That's good.
Pretty good, right?
You're going to say Enter Sandman.
No. Close, but
all right.
Enter
I'm here for
Shining Ones.
Let's go.
All right.
Let's go.
So the Shining Ones, from what I gathered, I'm sure it's older, but from what I was able to gather, comes from old Celtic and Scottish tradition, all the way back to the 17th century. Tuatha Dé Danann, from early Irish myth.
Nailed it.
A race of radiant, semi-divine beings who came to Ireland in a mist. They were described as a beautiful, powerful, and luminous. After the Malaysians, which were ancestors of the Irish people who had defeated them, they retreated into the hills, becoming the Osai, or fairy folk. So the Malaysians beat these radiant, semi-divine beings. They went to war with them, pushed them back into the hills and the forests.
And they became the Fae.
Essentially, yes. So in many writings, they were described as tall, luminous, possessing glamour of radiance that could bewilder mortals. It was also written that it was believed these fairy folk dwelled in a parallel world that overlapped ours, which is kind of what you were talking about with Sam earlier.
Yes.
They would abduct humans, especially children and those with second sight, into their realm. Many of these abductions took place in the woods or hills. Some of the traits around this is unsettling. Sometimes people were returned from being taken and sometimes not. Which reminds you once again, and we'll hit on it again later, but the 411.
Yep.
Right? So sometimes there is severe time distortion with these abductions. A night with the Shining Ones could be years in our life, in human life. An interesting take on this was that shining equaled liminal light. Their brightness wasn't just visual, it was also a symbol of spiritual power and the danger of being drawn into their world. The Shining Ones eventually were adapted into the occult realm as well. In the 19th century, but it gets twisted, a little bit. Some believe that they were remnants of an ancient advanced race or beings from another dimension, which still kind of lines into the Fae world, if you ask me.
Yeah, because you that's essentially like fairy rings and shit.
Yeah.
People equate them to portals. You step in a fairy ring and you disappear, which
exactly
is not that far of a contrast to think that you step into a different dimension.
No. You're absolutely right. I think it's the same label. Like, I think it's just one of them things where a different group put a different label on it, essentially. Yeah. Neo-pagan and New Age readings reinterpret them as interdimensional beings of light that still make contact in forests and wild places. Now, what's interesting is that some of the sensory anomalies are noted as well, which we've all heard, and me and Steve have talked about it countless fucking times. Sensory anomalies: sudden silence, strange lights, loss of directional sense, things like that. Not to mention these same things pop up in modern cases that, like I said, me and Steve have talked about. Also, in all the old fairy folklore of people being taken, it's always a liminal spot, which comes. I didn't quite understand what a liminal spot is, so I looked into it. It comes from the Latin word limen, meaning threshold. It is a place or moment that exists on the boundary between two states, world, or categories. In these tales, liminal spots are dangerous and powerful thresholds where our world overlaps with another world. So Okay. So what are some examples of liminal spots? The edge of a forest where trees meet open land, riverbanks, lake shores, caves, ravines, hollow hills. You also have constructed boundaries as well. Doorways, windows, crossroads, bridges. They can even venture out into times of day, twilight, midnight, dawn,
God,
seasonal traditions.
I didn't think of like something non-physical being a liminal space, like specific time frames.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
It's crazy, but it kind of makes sense as far as like rituals and shit go.
Oh
if
yeah,
you
it's
think about it,
like the in between, like the in
yes,
between daylight and darkness is essentially like a thinning of a veil. You know,
that's what the belief system is that all these places are thin places where the veil is weaker.
So weird.
It gives me goosebumps. It's crazy to think about. You know, and then Steve kind of already hit on it, but Sam the Sandown Clown connection. You know, there's time distortion, shimmering creatures, park and woods, meetings and shit like that, liminal spaces. There's a lot of connections there.
Yeah, it's weird. And like the sensory thing, you hear in a lot of the cases too, like the playing of flutes out in the forest to lure people in, the crying of a baby, you know, something calling your name, like something mimicking someone you know or someone you love, like your mother calling your name in the forest. Like that's very like fey trickster kind of stuff there.
Yep. It's crazy. I was able to find some more stories, some old, some new. I kind of went all over the board with it. And this is cool. This is gangster. So I found a super old one. And it's known as the White Procession. Okay.
That sounds creepy.
Dude, it's crazy. So this is like an old fucking story.
Which are I love when you can take stuff, links back in history that lead up to things occurring now.
And that's 100% what this is. So the White Procession. It's typically seen at twilight or moonlit nights along shorelines. Now keep in mind, this is from the old. More prominent near old burial grounds and tidal inlets. Islanders say beings walk in a single file line, glowing white or silver. There was a fisherman named Domnall, and he was returning from his boat when he saw a line of tall, shining figures moving slowly across the sand toward the sea. All of these beings were draped in white, almost translucent, like they were cloaked in light. He felt a great weakness at the knees and irresistible urge to follow them. Almost like he was put into a trance, he actually begins walking towards them. He got a decent look at their faces, he said. He describes them as human, but too pale and too perfect. There were no flaws. He described them like they were carved from pearl. One of the figures turns to him and speaks inside his mind, calling him to join them. Oddly, the thing that saves him was another fisherman, stating that he saw like this fisherman, because he noticed Domnall or whatever the fuck his name was, walking toward the water like he was drunk. So this other fisherman is like, "Yo, dude, like, hey, what you doing? Don't wander out into the ocean, idiot, especially while being boozed up." What ends up, Domnall ends up collapsing and stating that he had almost stepped into a doorway under the water. And it was said that most people who end up following the White Procession are never seen again. Some have been reported to show up drowned after following the White Procession. But most people say they're never seen again. Elders say that these are not ghosts. They are a host of the Sith or the Shining Ones. These Shining Ones are able to walk their path between worlds. Now, I found another account from Broadmoor, Seven Falls, which is in the Cheyenne Mountain Canyon of South Colorado Springs. This happens in 2012.
It is interesting, the White Procession, because it also holds like a lot of similarities to the lore of like sirens and mermaids, you know, calling people out to the water and essentially them never coming back or them drowning. Like it's we also heard it in the case I did about the woman from Thailand or something, where
Yeah.
they have essentially the goddess of the water that also
Yeah.
calls people in, which is, it's weird how these things just overlap and overlap.
Yeah. And what's crazy is I found accounts, modern day accounts of the White Procession that aren't by the water, but they are housed in a very specific area. And we'll get to that in a minute. But
okay.
This particular one is another Glimmer man sighting. And I found the full story, which is pretty good. This happened around 2012, so relatively recent. There was a dude who was contracted to do guard work at a tourist location called Broadmoor Seven Falls. On several occasions while on the night shift, he would feel like he's going to get attacked by an animal or human because he would hear these strange noises like hissing or groaning sounds. Sometimes he would see glowing red or white eyes. No matter the color, though, these eyes were always bigger than any like wildlife eyes in the area. He would always see them behind bushes and tree canopies. But what really fucked him up was he saw shimmering humanoid shapes. And the way he described them was like Predator. That was how he described them. He's like, they look like Predator. And he's like, even though I had a pistol on me, I still felt helpless when I saw these things. He's like, I watched this thing crawl across the asphalt over to my toll booth. It stood straight up and extended a long arm towards me. And when I shifted my weight to get a better look at it, he's like, I saw glowing reddish eyes. Then the entity jumped to a tree that was no less than 20 feet away, which creates a loud crash, and then it disappears back into the park. And he's like, what's fucked up, though, is, 10 years later, me and a coworker are catching up. Like, he's done with this place. Coworker's done with that place. They're kind of rekindling or whatever, meeting up for lunch. And they're sitting down talking. And the coworker is like, hey, did you ever see, just throwing this out there, did you ever see the predator beings while you were working there?
Just bringing it up, like
yeah.
Did you ever almost get killed by the predators?
And he said the coworker told him about his experiences, but unfortunately they weren't. He didn't elaborate on those, so I don't have those stories. But there is a connection there between both the workers seeing these shimmering beings in the park.
Yeah, the way he described it, just crawling across the asphalt, just picturing that in my head,
it's gross.
Gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And what's great, like, it's so stupid. So I found I can't remember the year the White Procession was, but I found like 2022, 2012. I found some old Cherokee legends speaking about they called them the Nunne High. Sorry if I mispronounced that, but it meant immortals. So, and it seems to be kind of a mixed bag when you look into the Nunne High. These immortals were spirit beings that lived under mountains who sometimes were visible as human-like. They would either guide you or abduct you. It's kind of how the Cherokee looked at them, apparently. Right? But I found a story how one night the Cherokee people had a night dance. And sometimes when these night dances took place, the Nunne High would show up and mingle with the people. It was reported that they looked relatively normal, men and women, attractive and graceful, well-dressed. They mingled with the people like they were kin. As dawn came, the dance ends, and a group of Cherokee women, like everybody's kind of walking, and there was a group of Cherokee women, and the Nunne High were walking with these women. Well, as these women got close to the what river was that? The Ford River? I can't remember what. The River Ford, where the water ran shallow enough for people to walk across. They said as soon as they crossed that threshold, the women disappeared.
Like they walked into a different dimension.
They walked through that liminal space between the water and land, and they instantly disappeared. Like witnesses who saw it, they saw them. As soon as they crossed that boundary, they disappeared. None of the women were ever seen again. People in the village mourned because they lost loved ones, you know. And the Cherokee people said that the women were abducted to go live under the mountains in the invisible towns of the immortals. Which is crazy because, like, in old Fae lore, you hear about them being under the hills.
Yeah, and there's a lot of Native American lore about mountains that open up and take people.
It's true. Yeah, that's true. You're right. I forgot about that. Absolutely.
Which is wild.
Absolutely. Now, the Cherokee, I guess they do have legends that say sometimes the taken would return, but no matter what, they would return looking the exact same as when they left. So there's a time distortion right there that we've discussed earlier. But like I said, in this case, they never did return. I also read some short reports on people in eastern Kentucky and West Virginia spotting these beings as well. Hunters have seen tall, human-like shapes glowing faintly, standing between ridges and tree lines. Sometimes these things are in small groups. People, when they see these things, they experience a trance-like pull. Elders in the area actually warn don't look at them, don't acknowledge them, don't follow them, because if you do, you're probably not going to come back. I saw reports from Southern Appalachians that described the White Procession, which is what I was telling you. You know, there's the one from the sea. Now you have it in the old mountains of the White Procession, where people are seeing the White Procession through the mountains at night. Locals report seeing a line of glowing people at night, walking single file line along old trails, and they make no noise at all.
It's weird because, like, somebody that isn't privy to the lore would see that, and I mean, what you would just think it was a ghost, right? You would think that they were ghosts, they were spirits, when in actuality they're very different from ghosts. Like,
yeah,
which is kind of the way I've been leaning the more I get into like John Keel and stuff. Like, what ghosts? I feel like ghosts are very different than what we think.
I'm beginning to see that. I think, like, but then again, like even if you have the belief that, like, if I pass and my essence comes back, that it's still it could fall in either camp. Essentially, it could be what we call a ghost, but also what we call a ghost might actually be these liminal beings.
Yeah, whatever these beings are,
the shining ones. Yeah, I mean, who's to say our essence doesn't turn into the shining one? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have a clue.
Yeah,
you know,
because it makes you wonder if, like, our energy passes on to the next realm or whatever. What's all this residual stuff that's sticking around? Like, if we're supposed to move on and stuff, I don't know.
It's weird.
It is weird.
It's definitely weird. But people in the area of the Appalachians, they believe that seeing the White Procession, seeing these beings of light, is extremely dangerous. People say that by joining them, you're going to vanish under the hills and never return. Then you look at the recent 2000s Glimmerman sightings where people describe the predator beings once again moving through the trees, but you keep pushing, and that evolves into, like we kind of touched on earlier, the missing 411 cases, which apparently in some of those have had suggestions where witnesses have seen strange lights in the area or people of light in the trees before these vanishings happen. And what's interesting as I dig around through all these stories is that we come to kind of a crossroad for me. And it kind of comes down to a single question, because Steve and I have been on the opposite side of a lot of things for kind of a long time. But I've heard people mention the beings of light. Now, due to my own ignorance, admittedly, and to the ignorance or feeling narratives of others, I think, and I think Steve would agree, I think we inherently view the phrase beings of light as a positive, descriptive phrase.
I think that's the way. I think it's the way it's been shaped.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
And that's exactly what I write. I write that we've kind of been programmed to do it like that.
Yep. You hear light
Instead
and you think
of
of light and love.
Yeah, instead of just taking that as what it is, a descriptive phrase. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of dawned on me as I'm writing this. Like, we always have like a secondary meaning to beings of light. We look at it, like Steve said, love and light, whereas that could just simply be a descriptive. Like, I don't have any other words than I literally saw a humanoid figure that was glowing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they use being of light.
And then it's immediately, instead of like
But our
illumination, it's like, oh, light meaning the opposite of dark. Dark meaning
Yes.
bad. Light meaning
Yes.
good.
Yes. And I think a lot of us, I'm to blame as well. I think a lot of us are at fault of that.
Mhm.
I don't think we look at it like this is just how it's fucking described.
Yep.
Right. And I know, and I'm not necessarily trying to throw venom, but like I've listened to Ryan Bledsoe talk, and I know he's referenced old world light beings like this, but his is in the context of like it being love and light and kind of pushing his narrative, his family's narrative.
Because I mean,
and
like if you break down the name, like Lucifer is often like in connotation with, like, I don't know if it's translation or not, with like the morning star or the bearer of light.
Yeah.
Which I mean is kind of the opposite of like
Is
light,
MO.
love, good and bad, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, but I just think that I know that like Ryan is well read and does his research. I just think that we as people get kind of tied into our own narrative sometimes, because in the end, the question that I would have, are these beings of light, the White Procession, the beings of light, the glimmering, the glimmer man, the shining ones, are they good or are they bad? And to be honest with you, in the research that I have done, it seems like the shining ones, the shining people, whatever label you want to give them, they're indifferent. They don't give a shit. It seems like they are nothing more than boundary keepers, kind of existing between two worlds. In most cases, observing them from a distance seems to be okay. But if you cross their threshold, it can be dangerous. And I looked at, the Cherokee people, I looked at Appalachian people, people overseas. The only group that has a relatively close connection to the Shining Ones that says they're cool is the CE5 movement.
Weird.
They're the only group, because some of their encounters mimic or get really close to the shining ones. And they're the only group that are like, yeah, these are good. These are cool. These are cool. Other than that, everybody else is in the camp of they're either neutral or they're dangerous. Like they can be both. They can be both. They can be neutral or dangerous. It just kind of depends on the circumstance. And maybe it's true, maybe that's true. Maybe they are boundary keepers. Maybe if you cross their lines, you're fucked. I don't know.
The only argument I have against that is them luring people places, like
also
luring
true.
them into the
Good
water
point.
or luring them into like the hollow hills and stuff like that. That's nefarious.
It is nefarious, but I think okay, so to counter that, and that is a really fucking fair point. I think to counter it though is that most people are going to look at that equation and say, but do they do that every time? Right? I don't think they do. I think that there are going to be states where you see the shining ones or the White Procession and you just see them. And that's that. But I think that there will be times where what you just said happens.
It makes me wonder, like, I guess we'll never know because the people that get switched over don't come back. But I wonder, like, what differentiates the two? What just seeing it and like what the difference is and just being able to view it or it seeking you out and like pulling you in. Because I was thinking about like the first Mickey's encounter where he was like, it was talking to me telepathically. Because I mean, Sam did that, right? Sam communicated telepathically. But I was also thinking of like how easy it is to get lost in that moment. Like when I saw the light there in like the Blue Ridge Mountains are essentially the foothills of Appalachia. You're right. You're right in the middle of it, right? When I saw that light, like that, it was weird. It was weird. Like they used the term alien apathy, and that's kind of what I felt like. Like I was just kind of locked in, like, oh shit. And it wasn't anything crazy. It was just a light in the mountains. But I was just like, just completely locked in. Like I feel like if there wasn't if I would have been by myself, would I have been able to snap myself out of it?
That's a good question.
Because I was so locked in, so curious, so like interested.
It is crazy when you word it like that because it reminds you of the White Procession story where the dude's locked in and the only thing that knocked him out of it was the other fisherman.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Because I was so interested, like it had 100% of my attention. Like, what would have stopped me from going up the other side of the mountain to see, like the other side of the hill to see what it was? The only reason I snapped out of it because Mel was there and I'm like, do you see this? Like that was the only thing that snapped me out of it, was trying to get some sort of confirmation that what I was seeing was real. And then it's almost like I said on the night shift, as soon as she looked at it, it was like as soon as it was acknowledged by another person, it blipped out.
It is weird because it does make it feel like
I could be disappeared now.
Yeah, it was there for you. And like you said, had she not come over there, like who's to say it wouldn't have got closer and then
because I
kind of coaxed you to go take a ride.
Because I thought, like, I immediately thought UFO, but now hearing this, lights in the woods and shit like that, I'm like, well, maybe it's something, maybe it's not off this planet. Maybe it's something well within this planet.
It could be.
Or at least the dimension close to ours.
It could be.
It's weird.
It's definitely an eye-opening topic for me. Like I said, it's because you hear the phrases a lot, beings of light, so on and so forth. And I do have this like kind of love interest for the Fae anymore. I do find them super interesting. And I'm not saying that these are direct Fae, but it's pretty fucking close to all the descriptions.
Dude, the more that we dig in, read cases, learn about things, like I know the Fae is an umbrella term for a lot of things, fairies, goblins, all sorts of stuff. But the more we dig into this, I feel like the Fae, the umbrella that is the Fae, is way bigger
Oh yeah.
I'll speak for myself, than I ever thought it was. I feel like it's beyond
I
just
agree.
little forest creatures, I think there's a lot under that umbrella that has over time kind of fell into that otherworldly trickster kind of entity that exists.
It's kind of like the overall, like the word paranormal, because the paranormal houses so much inside it.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like Fae is another word for paranormal at this point.
It is interesting.
Because you're right, there is a fuckload that falls underneath that umbrella that's kind of not fair to all the things that are underneath it, but
it just seems to get broader.
And to be fair, like it kind of does a disservice to a lot of it, because a lot of people in modern world think Fae and they just think fairy, like this Tinkerbell.
I was one of them.
Yeah, same. Absolutely, absolutely. But they all just think like a Tinkerbell or a friendly gnome. And that's couldn't be further from the truth.
And Tinkerbell is such weird, like, soft disclosure. If you like look at the actual character, doesn't she gain power the more people believe in her?
Probably.
Like,
I don't quite remember, but
like that's real, like, energy manifestation, like on the Disney level there.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
For sure.
It's weird.
It's like I said, it was pretty eye-opening. And it was such a left turn. Like, I didn't expect it. Like I said, it was supposed to just be a mixed bag episode of just weird shit in the woods. And I just got curious and I started digging around, and I'm like, holy shit, like this goes back to Cherokee, 17th century Scottish people.
Yeah, what was the name they called him? The beings that the Malaysian people ran off. You said a name for them.
It's a weird one.
Yeah. I'm not doing it so you have to read it again. I was just curious that, like, it legitimately had a name.
Yeah.
And the fact that the lore is that they were pushed off into the woods to become the Fae, like, I'd never heard that shit before.
No.
And the way that it layers in with, like, the missing 411, and like, if anybody that knows me knows that, like, missing people just baffle me. The fact that a whole ass human can just vanish from existence is just mind blowing to me, right?
Yep.
And if you have this lore behind whatever these entities are, interdimensional, Fae, whatever you want to call it, that they have the ability to just pluck people into the nether, pluck them into a different realm, a different dimension, is terrifying.
Yeah. They called them the AOS space SI. However you want to say that.
SI. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Which I guess translate to fairy folk.
Irish name for a supernatural race in Gaelic folklore, similar to elves. Said to descend from the Tuatha Dé Danann, or the gods of Irish mythology. Descendants of the gods.
Yeah, and that Tuatha Dé Danann is exactly what I have written down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Yeah.
It's so awesome.
I guess it's cool that it goes back that far. And then jumps, like I can jump that to 2022 and find gaps. It's gnarly.
Yeah.
And I like, what's crazy is, like, people, and there were always rumors about Predator being based on, like, a real encounter in, like, the Vietnam, somewhere in that neck of the world. Like, there was a real, and I've always tried to find that freaking story again, and I can't find it. But there are rumors that was based on a real encounter.
Dude, it's so, like, I'm looking up the AOC, or however you pronounce it. If we look into the book, this is from Reddit. Someone was asking questions about Irish mythology and these things. And someone said, we can have a look at the Book of Invasions. In that text, one of the unfortunately few sources of Irish mythology, the Tuatha Dé do indeed go through hills and become the AOC, people of the mounds, and a fairy or fae is just a weird blanket term that was placed on them. Anything supernatural in Celtic mythos gets termed fairy. Doesn't matter if it's good, doesn't matter if it's bad, what it does, where it lives, it's pretty much always just fairy. Man, that's so interesting.
Which is kind of like what we've always said, is that sometimes things get lumped in with shit.
Yeah.
Or different cultures have different names, but they're the same thing. You know, it's just, I think that's one of the things that we have to watch out for in the paranormal is labels. Yeah. I think labels do a lot more disservice than we acknowledge them.
Yep. Everything gets thrown under a specific blanket when while I feel like it's good to study it as a whole, like to see how the things interweave with one another, kind of like we were doing today. I feel like they respectfully deserve their own lane. You know what I mean?
I agree. And that's why like that's, you know, one of the reasons, like when people are like angels and demons are the same, or aliens and demons are the same thing. Like, but are they though?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think we're trying to lump too much together.
Yeah.
Until further research, I think that you're kind of right. I think that it's smarter. So I think it's smart. Like, you kind of hit it, not in the detail that I'm about to say, but I think it's smarter to be like, okay, so there's demons and then there's aliens. Two different camps, two different mythos. There they are. But it's almost like making those stupid fucking overlapping bubbles.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and then, well, here's some commonalities between them. Well, that's strange. It doesn't mean that they're the same, but there's some commonalities. Maybe we should explore this more. But to keep it separate and to keep it like where we can categorize it, if you can, whether that be in your brain or on paper, keep them separate and then mark these overlaps. And maybe we, as a group or individual, begin to dissect those overlaps.
Yeah, I think that's how you're I think that in itself, and that's kind of the way Keel was going. I think that's the way you figure out what the phenomena is.
Yeah,
you investigate
for sure.
Everything individually, like a bunch of different shoes all on the same path, you know?
Yeah.
You investigate them individually, then you start marking the similarities between all these things. And then you break it down again and mark the similarities between ghosts and the similarities between, you know, fairies, and then the similarities between aliens and demons and fairies. And then like it just, once you get to the crux of those.
And then what, like, ironically enough, if you think about it on a conspiratorial level, that's never going to happen because every camp is so ingrained in their camp. Like we always talk about building a legit community of people coming together and sharing information, because that's the only way it can be done. Like, you and me can only be proficient in so much. Like, even if we dedicated our lives to gray aliens, that's all we can do. We don't have the time to look into the Fae or the Red Caps or the Dogmen. You know what I mean? Like, It's impossible. So you have to have people from every background come together and communicate on these levels and not be so fucking judgmental about it.
I think that's why Keel was such a polarizing figure, that he thought all of this stemmed from one singular phenomena. People do not like that.
I don't like that, but I will acknowledge the possibility of. I'm at least open-minded enough to explore that, you know, because it could be fucking absolutely right. I don't know.
Yeah, they're all like offshoots, not necessarily the same thing, but they all come from like one source or one area or one veil or some shit. Like,
yeah, so like, I guess for a different way of considering it, it'd be like almost the evolution of humans.
Yeah,
in a weird way,
kind of fall out and break down.
Yeah, how we have different offshoots of
Yeah.
Essentially us throughout time.
Yeah. So weird. I didn't know anything. Like, obviously I'd heard of the shimmer beings or the glimmer man and stuff, just solely as a current day a current day phenomena.
Yeah.
I didn't know that it was tied back into history, and let alone multiple different cultures.
Me either.
Shit's wild.
Me either, man. That's why like I got so excited about it, because it was such a left hook.
Yeah.
Digging around and kind of just me being curious about it, and then you stumble across that name, the Shining Ones, and you're like, what the fuck?
There it is.
That it is. As soon as I heard that name, I'm like, I'm sold. I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in. This is way too good. Way too good.
It's almost a feeling of enlightenment when you're studying a modern day phenomena, and you're locked into like modern cases from within the last like 50 years. And then you start getting before that, like before media, before newspaper, before any of this stuff could have spread around. And you're like, oh, this happened in Ireland. Oh, this happened in Taiwan. Oh, this happened in America, where you know that these cultures are not mixing, and like people traveling from these places at the time that this is going on. Like, this phenomena is worldwide just because.
Yep.
Which is,
and it's like, what's cool is when you can take that modern day case and, like you said, hit on a 17th century case.
You're like, oh shit.
And there's similarities in the case.
Yeah.
Like dead on similarities. And you know that there's no possible, like, because you think about it, what would be the odds of someone in Appalachia seeing the White Procession and knowing about the White Procession?
None. Like,
it's
very
exactly
slim, you know?
Exactly.
Like, I feel
there's
like
no fucking way
that has its own lore in Appalachia. It has its own lore that exists there. They're not looking, like, I don't feel like they're looking to link it to anything else. Like, you see that in the mountains, you stay the fuck away from it. That's it.
Right. Exactly.
Same way as if like the fishermen, if you see that near the water, you stay the fuck away from it. You know?
Yeah. And that was overseas. Like, that wasn't even in America.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And that was old. I wish I would have wrote the timing down, because it was old school, if I remember correctly. And so the fact that, like, across the planet, there's two different cultures seeing the same shit,
and
it's fucking fascinating.
And the fact that it's tied into like look at the similarities it has to the encounters with Sam.
I know. That's why I was so dumbstruck when you were talking about Sam, and I'm like, hold the fucking phone, bud. Even this is crazy.
Down to the way they moved, and they described Sam as dancing, and Mickey described him as dancing, or the other beings as dancing.
And I never would have thought of that either, that, like, because she described him as like this Pinocchio puppet movement thing. And you're absolutely right that somebody could see that from afar and be like, these things were dancing around.
She even used the term dancing. Okay, the time that she saw him when he warned her about her boyfriend, she said he wasn't doing his normal dancing movement.
That is, I didn't even catch that. Dude, that's so good.
That's such a bonkers, off the wall specific term for it to be used to describe the way these things being, or these beings move in other different cases.
Good catch.
Is like,
that's a good catch.
That's it's such a specific verbiage that it's almost too specific for people to have picked up on this and like, oh, I'm gonna weave it into this story just because, you know.
Yep. And I still like it even goes back to the, like, your, entry statement of them when they cross over there, they have to figure it out. They have to get used to it.
Yeah.
Like, that could 100% explain those puppet-like movements. And then, like I said, like, from afar or even from close, like, someone might perceive that as dance.
Yeah, because
it's something I never would have considered, because you are moving in a very bizarre, like dancing way.
Yeah, because I feel like us as humans, we are very naive that everything exists under our physics, under the way we experience and understand physics. But our physics could be very, very wrong from like other dimensions physics. So when beings pass over to this, it might take a little getting used to
Like,
it.
what the fuck?
Which makes you wonder what happens to the people that get pulled to their dimensions.
Yeah, probably sucks.
Probably sucks.
But it is a good point. It's good, like a really good observation, man. And we, like, to be fair, like us as humans only have so many ways to describe things too. So we, that kind of limits us as well.
Yeah, we can only understand like what our senses let us understand.
Right. Yeah.
And we can't fathom anything outside of that.
Yeah, and that's why it's so important to be like, to have a sense of humility like you and I do, and to be as open as we possibly can. Because I don't think that there are many people out there that would have had the thought that like a puppet like movement, like correlating that with possibly a description of dancing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I think people like to isolate and double down. Like, no, it was definitely like a symbolic dance, and you're like, but could it be this?
Yep.
Could it be this? I think that's important.
I think those two cases, or I think Sam's case and these in particular, there's so many similarities that you do yourself a disservice not to entertain the idea that maybe, Sam, whatever he was, is in the same vein of whatever these beings are, the White Processions, the shining ones and shit.
It very well could be. It very well could be.
Especially the way that the air shimmered. They use the term fucking shimmer in it,
I know.
Like, and the fact that the being shimmered and the doorway, she said some of the doorways shimmered. I don't know.
It's weird. Like, it's still, I still kind of go back to like our angels or aliens and demons. Like, I still want to keep Sam in his own pocket, because he does have some strange anomalies.
Yeah.
That these shining people, but there are a lot of fucking similarities where it's that inner bubble where you're kind of like, this is strange. They're overlapping somehow. Yeah. I don't know why the fuck he's a clown, but
why he has a wand that he can do chalk drawings on and
right.
There.
I don't know what's up with that, but there are this inner bubble here where there's a lot of crossover, and it's strange.
That was a bad.
That's strange.
I told you, it was my wheels turning.
It was crazy, man. And I love that it was just like a stumble on. Had no plan for it at all. It was just one of these random things that I found.
I got a book on old Appalachia folklore and mythology. I need to look through to see if I can find.
I bet there's shit in there. I bet there is.
Hell yeah.
I bet there is.
That was a ripper.
It's like it's one of my favorite new, like, upcoming topics are like the Predator, Shimmer, Glimmer Man encounters.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because I was a huge fan of Predator,
Yeah.
And so it's definitely one of them topics that, and like you kind of said earlier, it what we thought is a new hot topic coming up. Like, there's a lot of newness to it. And come to find out, there's also a lot of oldness to
forever.
It. Yeah. So that's even more exciting.
It leans into like maybe the Predator was soft disclosure about these things.
That's what I'm saying. There's been I've talked about it countless times, how there were rumors that Predator was based off a true situation, and of course maybe the hunting aspect of it wasn't necessarily the case. But if you look at it, people go out into the woods. They see a shimmering person. They don't come back.
And it doesn't matter if you have an entire race of beings that are inherently good. You're gonna have some bad apples.
Exactly.
You only need one bad apple to go out and just start murdering people and pulling them into other realms.
And with the abilities like that, it would be like us against ants.
Yeah. We saw how well that worked out. Like 90% of the Predator movie, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. He murked everyone except Arnold,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's Arnold, so.
It's our one fighting chance is 1990s era Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I'd put money on him.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a banger. I'm curious to see what the Holocult has to say about it.
I hope they love it as much as I did.
We want to know where you're at with these shining beings. Where you stand with them? What do you think about them, Holocult? You think they're benevolent? You think they're malevolent? Where are they?
Yeah,
where
I
do
would
they
like to
land?
know. I'd like to know. I like the idea that they don't give a shit.
Which is almost as bad as being bad. You know?
I 100% agree.
Like they're just indifferent. Like, yeah, you know, if you come near us, I'm going to pull you into this nether realm, and I don't. That's your problem now. You know,
that's where I'm at.
I might like promise you arcane knowledge of everything you want, but if it works and you come over here, nobody's going to see you again. It makes another thing makes me wonder why the little boy was pulled. Like, if they're in the liminal area, you would think his family would be in the liminal area too.
Well, remember what I forgot to mention this earlier too. I'm glad you brought it up. They like to fuck with people with second sight, which is essentially sensitivity to the paranormal in a like very blunt way of putting it.
It's almost like they know specific people know.
Yeah.
Weird.
It is weird.
Banger. Whew. All right. Yeah. Give us your thoughts on this Holocult. Comments. Leave us comments on socials when this posts up on YouTube. Jot us down on the YouTube what you think about. What do you think these things are? And that'll wrap it up. Thanks for kicking it with us on this fine Monday morning. Hope everybody has a good work week. And on that note, stay safe, stay weird, and if you see the White Procession in the middle of the mountains or near a river, just stay away. Just stay away.